Hello, this is Stephen McNutt from Densemode.com. In this video, we're going to go ahead and configure our Enterprise Issuing RSA Certification Authority, which on this diagram is going to be this guy right here. So let's go ahead and get started. In a previous episode or video, we configured the root and copied the root certificate and krill over to this guy as well as this guy, and so that's our starting point. So these are the steps we're going to take now. We're going to take that root certificate, publish it to a Active Directory. We're also going to add that root cert and the krill to the local store of our Enterprise Issuing CA. We're going to install certificate services. We're going to configure our AIA and CDP extensions for the certificates it's going to issue. We're going to run some scripts real quick. We're going to take the Enterprise Issuing CA certificate and copy it to our web server where our CDP and online responder are going to live. And then we're going to rename it to match what the name is going to show up as in the AIA. You'll see that later. And then the final step is to publish the krill in Delta krill. And then at that point, we'll have a fully functional PKI that we can use to issue certificates and do fun stuff with. So let's go ahead and take a look. Over here, this is our CA. So the first step is, let's go ahead and fire up PowerShell. And we're going to publish the certificate. Using this command here. So we're taking this file here and we're publishing it to Active Directory. And that was done. And then the next step is to add the certificate to the local store. We're going to use the certutil commands to do this, but I'm also going to show you the manual way, which you can use to install certificates really quickly. So we're just going to use certutil to do this fast, and then I'll show you the manual. So this is something that you'll find yourself using from time to time, and you can fire up mmc.exe, so that's what I did there, and then you go to File, Add Remove Snap-in, and then what you want is this certificate snap-in right here, and we're going to select the computer account, finish, and then we can also add another one for us, and then click OK, and let's actually save this so we can use it later. We'll call it my cert MMC or something like that. Save it on the desktop. It seems like a better place for it. Seems to be hung up. Awesome. Okay, while that's busy hanging up, let's go ahead and get started on this. So we'll go to Server Manager, add roles and features. Been here a million times. Server selection, server roles, Active Directory certificate services, add features, next, next, next. And we're going to add a couple of other things here that we'll come back and configure later. We're going to do the Certification Authority Web Enrollment. This is a very handy tool to have. What it's really useful for is taking certificate requests and manually processing them. You can do it with CertUtil, but this is just a real basic web interface that perhaps if you're going to use it in production, you might lock it down, but in a lab environment, it's super convenient to have this. And we're also going to install this guy here. We'll configure him in another video, but we're just going to go ahead and install it right now. And this is the network device enrollment service. We're going to use this for some stuff later on. So finish this, and yes, that's fine. Install. Okay, while that's cooking, let's come over here and see. Here we go. We'll save this to the desktop so we can use this later. So now we have the certificate stores for the user, for the actual logged in user account, and then the computer has its own certificate store, which is pretty cool. So we'll come back and look at this later. But what you can do is, if you wanted to take this certificate right here and install it, you can by going through here. You can, for example, go to Enterprise Trust or even Trusted Roots. Let me see, Trusted Root Certification Authorities. Where are you? There we are, right here. And we should actually see that certificate in here somewhere. There it is. Densemode RSA Root Certification Authority. So that's what was imported with the CertUtil command. We also could have gone here and manually right-clicked on certificates, import, and then selected the certificate from the file system. It would have done the same thing. So let's take a quick look at this root certificate that we created in the prior video and check out the details. So it's a self-signed certificate because the root always creates its own certificate. It's got no constraints. Let's go check out the details. So it's a version 3 certificate. This is the serial number of the certificate. It's using a SHA-384 signature. And we're using an RSA for encryption. That's what that RSA means at the end. There's the issuer name right there. And then these are our validity dates. So this is important for why you have to have your clocks have to be accurate, because if you have a validity date that's within this period, but then the clock of the device is not within this validity date, it won't accept the certificate. And that's a common thing you'll see with routers. So that's why it's really important to have everything synchronized with network time protocol. So this is a very important field. This is the subject field. So this is common name. And we use this sort of long English sounding name, but when you actually issue certificates to devices, it won't be like this. It'll look more like an FQDN. So we got a 2048-bit RSA key. And then this is the key usage, which is all the things, basically. Subject key identifier, not that important, not that important. There's basically no constraints. And then this is just a thumbprint. It's just a hash of the certificate. And that's everything. Let's go and see if we're done installing over here. And we are very close to being done. So let's pause for actually we're done. Okay, so we'll close this, come over here, and let's configure Active Directory Certificate Services. So just in case, I kind of went through that pretty fast, so let me cancel the wizard. So when you're done installing the role, you've got this little triangle, exclamation triangle in Server Manager. So when you're configuring the service, you come over here, and then this is it kind of guides you. So this is right here. You've got this link, Configure Active Directory Certificate Services, and so this is where we're going. And this is just, we need to make sure we're using an account that has appropriate permissions. The domain admin account, so that's fine. And we're only going to configure the certification authority. It's the only thing you can configure in the first pass. And then next. and this is an enterprise CA. It's a subordinate CA. So we're going to make a new private key. This is fine. We're going to change our hash to SHA-384. And we are going to change a couple of things here. So we are going to call this guy the call him this. Let's call him Densemode RSA RSA Enterprise Certificate Authority. That looks pretty good. I like that. In this case, unlike the root, I don't want to put a bunch of spaces and other hard to process characters because we might want to use certificate maps and other things in our routers and stuff later on to look for this information. So this will make it a little easier to work with. So we'll go ahead and click next. And that looks pretty good. So we're going to create a certificate request file. Next. Next. And configure. Okay, so that's just telling us that we have to go and process that request, which is pretty easy to do. We're just going to come over. Okay, so if we go and look on the root of the C drive, we can see that the wizard dropped off the certificate request right there. And if we open this guy with Notepad, we'll see that it's just a PEM encoded certificate request file. I believe it's a PKCS number 10. So what we can do is copy this and then hop over to our root CA, our offline root, and create a notepad, fire up a copy in Notepad, paste this in. It's a little easier in trying to copy it across on the file system. Save it in the root, and we'll call it RSA CA dot. Man, can't type. Okay. All files. Okay, looks good. Save. All right. So then we'll come over to the certification authority and all tasks. Submit new request. And we'll go to the root of that C drive. There's our request. So now if we come into the pending request folder, there it is. Right here. So then we just right click, all tasks, issue. Now if we come over to issued certificates, there's our issued Enterprise Certification Authority CA. You can see the sub CA, subordinate CA certificate template was utilized. So now all we have to do is get the certificate back onto our Enterprise CA and we'll be on our way. So there's a couple of ways to do that. Do it the easy way. Just open the certificate, copy the file, and we'll do base64 encoded, which is that PEM format we were looking at before. And we'll just call it RSA CA.cert. And we'll put it on the C drive. Next. Finish. Okay, cool. And then we'll just hop over here and get on the C drive, and there it is. And again, we'll just do the same thing. Just open it in Notepad to grab the PEM file, the text. Just grab the block of text like that, copy it, hop back over to our Enterprise Issuing CA, fire up another copy in Notepad, paste it in, save it, and we'll just do the same thing. We'll call it RSA CA.CRT. Done. Okay. So then we'll fire up the Certification Authority Management snap-in. And right-click all tasks. And we select Install CA Certificate. We select that. Go find our certificate. Just this guy right here. And bam. Now we can start it. Start service. Woohoo! Awesome! We now have an Enterprise Issuing CA. So let's go ahead and configure it. Properties. And let's just pause for just one moment. Take a look at the details. So this is all the normal stuff. Version 3 template. SHA 384 RSA. Here we go. Here's our validity dates. So we're good. We have a 20-year certificate. Here's our subject. So this is our common name. Densemode.com. So that's our subject name right there, which is pretty cool. And what else do we see? This is the template name. Key usage. Authority key identifier. Here we go. So if you recall, when we configured the CDP extension on the root, this is what we configured right here. So if we come back and take a look at this guy, let me find him. Not him. And this guy. If we go over here and we take a look, if you remember, if we look at our root properties and we go and look at the extensions, remember we had two things in here. So this first one is we're publishing the krill, but see, that's the only thing that's selected. But this second item in the CDP right here, including the CDP extension of issued certificates, right? And so then when we actually go and take a look at our super awesome PKI, we see that your Enterprise CA, we can see the certificate that was issued. Sure enough, right there, it was embedded in the krill distribution point in the CDP field of the certificate. And remember the other thing that we configured in the other video? It was this guy, this authority information access, right? So this is the online responder, which we're going to configure in another video. And then check this out. This actually points to the location of where the client can go and grab the certificate for certificate chaining validation. So if we come back over here and we take a look at our authority information access, voila, there it is. So we have item number 1, access method, online certificate status protocol online name, pki.densemode.com.ocsp. And then if you look at the second entry in our AIA, we have the access method, certification authority issuer, and there you go. There's the certificate of the certification authority. So that way, when this guy presents a certificate, the client can go, well, how do I know I can trust you? And that client can then look in the CIA field, see this URL, use it to go grab the certificate, and then run its checks and make sure that everything is cryptographically correct. So that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and do the same thing on this guy. We're going to configure the same these extensions so that when he issues certificates, these CDP and AIA fields will be appropriately populated in the certificates that he issues. And additionally, don't forget, this is also where we set up our krill publishing. So we're gonna publish the krill out to our web server, which is also not only going to be used by machines that are directly downloading the krill, but the online responder will use the krill as well. So let's remove all the stuff. We're just going to rip out all the defaults because the defaults are lame. Okay, so let's do it. All right, so we're going to add some CDP options here. So this is our first one. And what this is going to do is this is where we're going to, this is the where we're going to publish the krill on just the local file system of the CA. So we're going to add that. And we're also going to publish delta krills. So that way, that's a smaller file. And it's just that it's like so you have like maybe you're publishing a full krill once a week and then you publish a delta krill every 24 hours. And then we'll go ahead and add the second CDP option. Which is going to, this is an SMB path. So this is what's going to publish the krill out to our web server right here, the second guy here. So we're going to publish to this location. We're going to publish delta krills in this location. But we're not going to include this inside the certificate because this isn't going to be reachable for, most stuff. So this is just for the purpose of publishing our krill. And then finally, this is going to be our last one. And this is what we're going to stick inside the certificate. And this is the one, include krill in krills client used to find delta krill locations. And then we're going to include in the CDP extension of issued certificates. So we're looking good. Okay, looks good. I like it. I'm happy with this. So we're going to go ahead and click OK on that. And we don't need to restart the service yet because we're going to apply an additional batch of settings, which is just timers. So if we take a look here, just like I mentioned, so we have a krill validity of 2 weeks. We're going to publish a delta krill every day, 12 hours of overlap, and certificates are going to have a maximum validity of 5 years. But since the certificate authority is good for 20, that means that clients will be able to renew like 4 times. Okay. And then the final command, restart service. Okay, so we're done. One of the really cool things about the Enterprise Issuing CA is that it automatically publishes, because it's Active Directory joined, it automatically publishes its certificate into Active Directory. So we don't have to manually publish it like we did with the offline route. So there is a couple of more steps we have to take. We need to go ahead and publish a krill. So we'll go over to our Revoke Certificates folder, right click, all tasks, publish. So we'll publish a new krill. That's done. So let's check our PKI server to verify that the krill published. So this is our web server. And remember we put that SMB path in there. So let's see if it published. It did. Awesome. See this? This is where it says Densemode RSA CA. So that's our krill from our Enterprise Certification Authority. And then this ECA Plus is our Delta krill. So that is kick-ass. It's totally working. We just successfully published our krill. So what we also have to do is we have to put the certificate over here and give it the name that it's supposed to have in accordance with what we put in the AIA field. So I got a little surprise for you. Plot twist. If we look over here, there's actually this is part of a much larger topology, which is this. And in subsequent videos, we're going to explore this topology and we're going to do all kinds of really fun stuff. But for right now, what we're going to do is this guy. We're going to take him and we're going to temporarily relocate him up here so that we can stage him out and do some fun stuff. So let's do that right here. So this guy's already domain joined. And let's do a GP update real fast. If maybe it would help if I could spell. Okay, here we go. Okay. Fire up a copy of MMC. And let's go take a look at our certificates door. And we'll look at for the user account. And let's see if everything's working. So we'll come over to personal and let's try to get a certificate from the CA. So I'm going to right click, select all tasks, request new certificate. And we have an Active Directory enrollment policy. This is a good sign. We like that. And look at this. Okay, this is good. This means that everything's working. So we're going to ask for a user certificate right here. So let's try it. Let's enroll. And RSA CA Densemode. Error invalid parameter. Try again. Oh, that's kind of weird. We'll have to take a look at that and troubleshoot that later. It might just be because I just published it, or it could be because I don't have that certificate stored yet. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So if we come over here and look in our AIA field, where's our authority information access? There's our curl distribution point. We're missing something. Authority key. We are missing something. Okay, I made a mistake. Okay, well let's see what I did wrong and see if we can fix it really fast. Okay. Let's go take a look and see what I did wrong. Extensions AIA. Ah, that's what happened. I didn't configure my AIA extensions. So, oops. Okay, let's fix that. And include an AIA extension. Yes. And then we'll add the second, which is the certificate. Paste. Yes. Include in AIA extension. Yes. Apply. Restart service. Okay. Okay. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Let's see if we can recover from this now. Okay, so let's delete the certificate. Yes. And then let's request a new certificate and see if the missing field is in the new certificate. I'm going to have to fix that. Okay. Okay. Let's see if he's got all the information now. There we go. Now we have an authority information access field. Now it was missing before. Now it's there. So this is great. Okay. So there's our OSCP, which we don't have configured yet. That's okay. And then here's our AIA. So what we need to do is we need to rename our enterprise issuing certificate for enterprise issuing CA to this name. So let's copy this and let's go over to, let's go back to our enterprise issuing. Let's do this. We're going to go to and we're going to copy this root certificate. This guy here. Copy to file. Continue. Base 64 encoded. File name. And we're going to do i.densemode.com. PKI. Okay, cool. And then we can paste this in. That's not what we want. We want, go take a look at and see what this said. Okay, so it needs to look like this. Copy. We need to match that up. It needs to be exactly like that. So when we save it, they need to match. Okay. Densemode-RSA-ECA. Okay. Okay. Yeah, let's look at the rest of it. Densemode-ECA-R. And it's just this, it's just repeated in lowercase. Right there. Okay, let's see if they match up. Do they match? ECAD, Densemode. Okay, so it's still these. This is capitalized. Okay, -RSA-ECA. Okay. Okay, let's check it again. That looks correct. Okay, cool. So that's what we want. Save it. Okay, so we'll just do this then. Save this since I put a lot of effort into this. Copy. Now we should be able to save it. Yep. Finish. Okay. So this is how we can validate it, is we can come back over to our client. Awesome. Okay, we'll use We'll just use the browser on this guy here. And let's see if we can actually download the certificate. Let's see what's wrong. It's not there. Okay. Well, let me just pause this and fix it because now I'm just flailing around, but you get the idea. The certificate needs to be here, so let me fix that. Okay, so it ended up being a really simple problem. I figured it out 10 seconds after I paused the video. All it really was on the web server. I had inadvertently saved the file to the C drive instead of the D drive, and the D drive is actually where the share is. Was actually where the share lives, so I'd saved it on the wrong volume. So pretty straightforward. So let's go test it now, and I'm reasonably confident it should work, but you never know. So let's try it out. Paste in the file name. And it still didn't work. You're kidding me. It's because it's got Windows gave it the wrong extension, even though I tried to avoid that. So now I have to just go rename it real fast. Well, that's why it's super important to verify stuff. Which server is this? This is the guy. So let's go over here. And this is it right here. So it's actually this. Yes, change it, please. Okay. So now it should work. So let's make sure it works this time. It's really important that the URL that's embedded inside the AIA works, or you'll have all kinds of problems. So this is actually a really important verification step. And there we go. So we were able to download the certificate. We were able to put in the URL that was in the AIA field. So that's super important. So anytime you see you see a URL in the CDP or AIA fields in the certificate, you need to be able to paste that URL into a browser and have it download. So what this means is now we were able to issue a certificate to a client, and the fields inside the certificate validate. So this is a proper certificate. This is a good certificate. Any device that trusts our certification authority will accept the certificate, and it will pass any normal validation checks. And so now we're done. Thanks for watching. I know this was kind of a long video, and I did jump around a little bit towards the end, but I hope that was somewhat offset by the value of looking inside some of these fields and going through the troubleshooting and validation steps. So thank you and have a great day. Like, share, subscribe, all those fun things.